when people can do and purchase product locally, nobody would go for the imported item anyway. As much as we are in the industry of service, sometimes no is the best answer. If it's not something that we can do,
Ah.
why even giving a false hope?
So, welcome to I Work with Chocolate, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of professional kitchens, bakeries, and chocolate driven businesses across the food service world. I'm your host, Arvid, and in each episode, we're going to sit down with chefs, pastry artists, distributors, and culinary entrepreneurs who are shaping the way chocolate is used, served, and loved throughout the food service industry. So, this podcast isn't just about sweet stories, it's also about discovering the mindset and the business moves that make chocolate work inside of real kitchens. So, whether you're in the industry as an entrepreneur or just want to know more about what goes behind the scenes, this episode is for you. I'm here today with Ibu Henny, the director and founder of Lotus Food Services, and also her son Conrad, who runs the business alongside her. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of this podcast. And the reason why we do this podcast is really so that we can get these juicy stories out there for and it's not only about stories, but it's also about so that the users can get a lot of value and essentially that we help sort of educate sort of the next generation of food service professionals. You ready?
Yep.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So let's get started then. So Bu Henny, this one, well, anyone can answer this one actually, but it's take us back to the very beginning, of Lotus Food Services. What inspired you to start the business, Bu?
I came here with my husband back in '96, right? He already got a branch office operating back then, but then it was still very small, right? At the beginning, it was uh, the understanding of quality food product is still not there yet.
Okay.
So it's still considered as a luxury, whereby in reality is actually a necessity. When you would like to present something good in the industry, you need good ingredients, and it's not always available back then. So
see.
it is a problem, but at the same time, it's also an opportunity.
I see.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. And
That's how Bill and I look at it.
I see. Okay. But so when you started out, I mean, yeah, that was a startup stage at the time, right? So
Yeah.
what were your particular challenges, but perhaps more so being a female entrepreneur starting out?
Starting out, I think it's more of getting the customer to understand.
Okay.
Now, we were lucky in a sense because back then we did have some expat chefs, F&B directors, GM, and all, who's exposed to other countries' availability on food ingredients, which is not necessarily available in Indonesia. Uh, Challenges as a female, I didn't really feel it.
No?
No, nothing really.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was in zaman kapan ya? Berapa ya?
It's
Was it,
96,
90
97.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. But what about in terms of like the values or principles that help you build the company to what it is today? Did you have any sort of values that still hold true today in terms of how you do business?
I find it that integrity and commitment. Once we promise to do something, you do the best to your ability. Not always working, correct, but the customer, as long as the customer understand that we actually put in the best that we can, I find them very understanding actually.
Okay.
As long as we're being honest about it, right? I mean, when it gets to government regulation, or we got some of our product coming in from Java to Bali, and then the crossing of the ferry is not working because of weather issue and all that, which is everybody know anyway. So as long as we explain to them what happened, and then from that, actually, we did learn and still do right now that there is a there's a good reason of having enough stock available at all time. Not always working, but as long as you strive to do that, the customer is very understanding to that sense.
It sounds like on top of that, like I would imagine the relationship with the customer.
Oh, that's very important. That's very important. I suppose, Bill built this business by getting to know the customer's needs.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of communication with them. It's quite open in a sense. So when we have problem, we explain as well.
Yeah.
You know, and then when we have a breakthrough over a certain problem, we found a solution, or we need to find a substitute or alternative to what they need, we also explain to them. Now
Okay.
we work it out in a sense together. And yes, we had some problem, but it's not impossible.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And I like what you said about focusing on customer needs because at the end of the day, you have to put your customer first, right? And understand what their pain points are and how you can be a part of, perhaps the solution, right, to them. And
Well, at the end of the day, if you don't have and we do not cater to their needs, I must say we have no reasons to be here anyway.
Sure, makes
Right?
sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, what advice would you give to younger entrepreneurs, especially those trying to build a business from the ground up?
It is, there are a lot of players in the market, right? Some have the same product, some have the same service given to the same community of the customers.
Okay.
So I would say it's good to be able to identify what is the gap in what is available to what they need, and try to fulfill that. Now, copying is not bad, yeah. But then again, I find it when somebody is doing something and you copy exactly. It doesn't leave room for loyalty over there. It
Right.
doesn't leave room for creativity.
Yeah.
And there's no innovation, whereby the needs in itself evolves all the time. So the ability to adapt will be very important. And be ready to make some mistakes.
Yeah, and learn
Right.
from them.
Learn from them. Yeah, I mean, don't make mistakes and then dwell on it. And that's not the way to go, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I can definitely relate with that. Sometimes I also tell my own team, it's okay to make mistakes, but if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, then we're going to have a different conversation, right?
Yeah, yeah. The first mistake is the lesson. The second mistake, you start question. Third mistake is more of a. It's almost you're doing it on purpose to a degree, right?
Exactly. So next one for Conrad. I mean, okay, so you're working with your mom, and yeah, what is it like, a mother and son team? What is it like working together, Conrad?
Working together, seems pretty natural. Growing up in the family business setting since I was a kid, helping out here and there.
Yeah.
So it almost feels pretty natural, and like we get along pretty well. Mom's been really cool and supportive, throughout my whole life, and now I'm just happy to be here and take on the opportunity that I'm given.
Okay.
So it's
So-
pretty good.
So how do you solve like disagreements, for example? How does that work?
Talk it over.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I came from the last century, right? This is the new century. So, gotta be open, gotta have big enough heart to accept that, yes, he's young, correct, but he's been exposed to different things that I haven't too.
Okay.
And so, he would come with different perspectives. And like people say, I mean, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads would be better than one sometimes, right? It is true. There is also another saying, too many chefs ruin the soup or somehow. But in the case of coming up with a solution over or reviewing a market situation, he might hear from other people's, from his friends in his
Mhm.
network on what's actually up and coming, on how things are going. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I would leave it more to him in terms of social media. See,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is something that I'm trying to get used to it, but I don't think I want to, right? But if that's the necessity of actually thriving in the business in terms of using it as a means of conveying the message
Yeah.
to the market, yes, we can do that. As long as we
Makes
doesn't
sense.
get misled into doing something that's way off, yeah,
Yeah.
or
Like,
even providing wrong information. I think that would be
yeah. Yeah.
disastrous. Yeah.
No, I like that what you said about social media. I mean, essentially, you're delegating things, right? But what I personally like about social media is that it's kind of like a window into a business.
Hmm.
And so people that don't know your business, they get a little sneak peek, right? And see what your business is all about, your values. Essentially, you're telling, your potential customers, is this a business that I want to do business with, right? And
Hmm.
so, but it's good. You essentially just complement each other, right? And
Yes, I mean, um, I suppose the sneak peek also is we have it through the showroom
yeah,
that we have the Gourmet Garage. Uh, it is true; it's much easier for us for the sales team in a sense. Whenever we have anybody new in town, it's easier for them to come and understand and inspect what we have that can become available to help them in their operation.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So Conrad, what's one or two lessons you've learned from your mother that has deeply influenced how you do business today?
No task is impossible.
Yeah.
You know, with a little perseverance and will, anything can be done.
So where
Especially
there's a will, there's a way, right?
exactly, especially in Indonesia, right, where
Mhm.
things are a bit complicated,
Okay.
and trying to navigate that. Yeah, and the importance of building solid relationships
Yeah.
with people in general, whether it's your customer, suppliers, partners, and having connections. Not everything is just surface level transactional, or
Yeah.
we're here trying to help each other out,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
from a supplier point of view, customer. We're fulfilling a need
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, and trying to get to know people.
I
Yeah.
think we also like to take it a little bit beyond customer and supplier relationship,
Okay.
right? And it's for that reason we provide the showroom and also that's acting as a training center.
Yeah.
Now we do realize the equipment used in the industry, they keep on evolving.
Yeah.
Right? And then, in a sense, we'd like to have the local, the Indonesian, the Balinese here,
Yeah.
to be up to what's going on outside, right? Because eventually, we may not reap the results straight away,
Yeah.
but it's in a sense, it's they will learn and hopefully they know when they come to a position where they can become a mentor to the younger one.
Right.
I hope that can be done.
Yeah.
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 So it's not exactly I'm buying this, I'm getting this service, and that's it. Thank you, bye bye. No,
Yeah.
and then that's why we're quite active in involved in the chef association here.
I see.
So at least you take care of the young ones.
Yeah.
Eventually they become the leader in the industry anyway.
Right. Right. So there's an element of education involved, right,
Yeah.
in the way you do business.
It's a way of giving back to the industry that has made it possible for us to be where we are right now.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, like building long-term relationships is
Mhm.
not only just having an occasional coffee with your customer,
Yeah.
right? It's actually by doing things, right?
Uh-huh.
And showing them things. Makes sense. This next question is not on the list actually, but
What's that?
it
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
I just thought of it. Um, have you ever dealt with a difficult customer, right? And have you ever had to say no? Because if you're customer facing, you want to please the customer, right? But have you ever had to say no or
Yes.
yeah?
I mean, as much as we are in the industry of service, yeah, uh, sometimes no is the best answer.
Oh, why is that?
If it's not something that we can do,
Ah,
why even giving a false hope
yeah.
in one way, right? Or if you get a request that you know for sure, right? After exhausting all the possible resources and effort, it's not possible. You might as well just say no.
Yeah.
And by doing so, mm, the customer would understand as well. They know. I think it's a being the industry for quite a while. They realize that when we finally say no, that
Mm.
means it's a no,
Okay.
right? Because they know we will do the best to our ability to
Yeah.
fulfill
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
needs. So when we say no, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. And especially with your actions and how you use your place of business to educate, but to give value to your customers. So yeah, if it really is no, that means it really is no. It's not no.
Let's
some
move
some
on.
no means
Move on
yes.
to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So Buheni, yeah, what do you admire about your son? You know, and how he's handling running the business with you.
Well, succession is always issue is not the right word for it, I suppose, but it's always something that us as a parents we try to build the business in such a way, uh, at the end of the day is to give it to them, but and we also cannot force it, and it's for that reason actually we involve both Conrad and Alex right from beginning when they were
Right.
very young, hoping that they find the interest,
Yeah.
right, and also with the relationship they have. Unfortunately, I must say, their network of friends, a lot of them are actually in the hospitality business. So it's quite a natural thing for him to go in. And I'm quite, I must say, Conrad is open enough to give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Sometimes people just don't want to touch it. That's it, right?
Right.
So he's willing to give it a try. He asks questions when it doesn't seem to make sense to him, which is good. Because when there is no question, that means it's either he fully understand or he fully doesn't understand enough to ask anything, right?
Correct. Okay.
So keep on learning. I mean, as long as he keeps on learning, I think that's a quality that everyone must have. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Conrad, like what your mom was mentioning about, you started helping around when you're quite young. You know, what
Mhm.
was your first memory of, helping the business when at that age?
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. It's like random flashes. I remember being like maybe 10 years old,
Yeah.
helping out, packing goods, being in the butcher,
Oh yeah.
being in the kitchen. I mean, it would be random tasks
Yeah.
that a kid could, manage, whether it's weighing things, packing things, getting to know what products we have, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also being comfortable or familiar with, just being in this setting, which is, cooking food, talking to customers,
Right.
being involved, in interactions within the business, outside the business, and everything in between. So
Okay. So are you a foodie as well?
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
You
be.
have to be, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it comes naturally that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've been
because
super lucky, being
because-
exposed to this, kind of, spoiled me to some degree because I've been used to a certain level of,
Yeah.
food and stuff. So
Yeah. 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 Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So the next set of questions I have is more related towards chocolate, right? The podcast is called "I Work with Chocolate." No, because I know you distribute Embassy chocolate,
Correct.
of course, right? And so, what makes Bali or the Bali Horeca market unique when it comes to chocolate?
um,
I guess
I-
suppose you could talk about chocolate, but also just the whole food scene in general, and that kind of connects.
well, chocolate is part of the ingredient. Traditionally thinking, it was always part of the dessert. section, right? Pastry, chocolate, praline, and that. And so it's always going to be part of the requirement for the customer. Now, right at the beginning, it was always imported chocolate, right?
Right.
Which is quite unfortunate because I think Indonesia being one of the biggest cacao producer,
Right.
but it's also a very ironic situation where sometimes, most of the time, the good quality is always going out of the country, and the domestic use is left with the whatever is left behind.
Right.
But so when we first talked to Stephen McNan,
Yeah.
right, that he said he could produce the coffee for Indonesia and we can do the distribution. We introduced it to the customers. Most of them are our friends anyway. So I said, what do you think? Will you go for it?
Okay.
Because the perception of chocolate has to be imported. It's only then that it becomes good quality and all that. I said, give it a chance to the local industry.
Yeah.
So we managed to get some friends, some of the customers to actually try the chocolate. And it was a very nice surprise.
Okay.
And then when people can do and purchase product locally, nobody would go for the imported item anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially now with all this, it becomes a core value to some customers, especially the international chain hotel.
Yeah.
They would like to be able to support the local industry, which is a good concept to begin with. And then, given that opportunity, I would believe the local industry would have to learn and come up with a consistent quality product. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be top of the top. When you say that you're in medium level, yeah, okay, stay there.
Yeah.
Don't go one day it's going up and one day going down.
Yeah,
It's not healthy that way. I mean, so with more and more chocolate available, we get good supply. Thank you for that. So the customers are happy. We're happy too.
Okay.
Right, and then having the workshop, giving ideas to the customer on what can be done that goes beyond just the dessert. I think that's also a good exercise,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, makes sense. I think what really resonated with me there is, yeah, you're right. A lot of chocolate products are imported, right? And if you think about where they're imported from, right, all the way in Europe and everywhere, the process it takes to get it all the way to Indonesia, right? It's a long process, and I'm sure it will impact things like supply. And if the supply is not stable, well, let's say you're a bakery, it would completely mess up their production, right? If the product's not available. So then, but do you see like perhaps in Bali that people are sort of more proud to use local product, or maybe for sustainable reasons, or just the fact that it's Indonesian?
Well, for sustainable reason, yes. And I must say there are quite a number of local producers here in Bali where they do from beans to bar thing, right? It is still in a smaller scale. Some are getting a little bit bigger. And this is something that we must support this effort.
Okay.
Yeah, so they don't go into a despair situation where they just gave up because basically the product is available now. It is true that we need to find a way and assist them, and this is what we can get actually from our supply partner in a sense. Whatever equipment that they can have, right? We normally ask them to support us in terms of technical assistance in terms of doing a demo, doing a workshop. So by doing so, I hope that there's some sort of transfer of knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. On the producer itself, as long as they keep on evolving and see what's going on out there, and then fulfill it, and then maintain a consistent supply, I think it'll be a win-win solution to both.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that transfer of knowledge is priceless at the end of the day.
It has to be. I mean, there is a way of doing it, maybe in the old ways, right?
Yeah.
Traditional way. But if you got the new equipment or new technology that can assist and then actually elevate the result, why
Yeah.
not take it?
Yep. I like that. I like that. So, personal question to you both.
Sure.
When you think of whenever you're having that comfort chocolate snack that you want, right? What brands do you go? What kind of chocolate do you go for? What's your go-to chocolate snack?
Um, I love hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. Okay.
Hot chocolate drink is nice. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there is a local producer over here who produce combining chocolate and sea salt.
Oh, nice.
That
Yeah.
one I like, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would imagine the sea salt
Yeah.
enhances the flavor of the
Mhm.
chocolate, right? Okay. Conrad.
Probably chocolate bars too.
Yeah.
You know, easiest to consume and most available.
Okay.
But also drinking chocolate, like Mama so hot chocolate, having that, I don't know if it was the not traditional, but like way back when they used to do the spice chocolate,
Yeah.
adding more spices and complexity to the flavor. So I really enjoy that.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
your comfort. Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I had to just throw that in there.
Sure. Yeah.
On the topic of chocolate, but so in terms of your customers, who I would imagine are a lot of chefs, what do they look for in a distributor partner? And how do you try to meet those expectations?
I think it's value for money. So not necessarily things have to be cheap.
Yeah.
Right. Good quality is what they strive for.
Right.
Right. And when it comes at affordable price or at the value for money pricing, I think that's what they strive for.
Right.
Now, we do realize sometimes they have special event where they would like to go fancy and all that. Yes, that's good. But on the day to day, it's consistency. I think that is what they want to. Now, the fact that the cacao price go up and down,
Yeah.
and down, it's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to live with it.
Okay. Conrad, anything you want to add?
I think, yeah, you said
Mm.
consistency
Yeah.
in terms of quality, but also availability, because, when things end up on their menu or their retail supermarket, whatever it
Yeah.
is, they just want the product to be available. So
Yeah. Do you notice? How about like when it comes to the menu, like rotational items? Do you play a part in that at all, or do you let your customers just sort of come up with new menu ideas?
I think at the end of the day, the customer will end up, will come up with their menu items or menu ideas. We can only maybe influence and, share some inspiration on what other people are doing. But this day and age of social media and everything is available online. So I think people are very open to exploring different approaches to creating a product. So
Right. Yeah, and I guess with all that creativity, it enhances your point.
Mhm.
The product has to be available so that
Yeah.
they can continue with their creativity, right? Makes sense. So in terms of the role of the distributor or the food distributor, how do you see it evolve, in the food service and perhaps also even the chocolate industry?
Apart from the transactional activities that we have, personally, I would like to be able to take part in the improvement of the quality of the people in the industry.
Mm.
Sometimes, when they come to a certain position, so I'm only a little cook in the corner of the pastry somewhere. I find that they don't appreciate the opportunity that they have.
Okay.
Now, if we as the supplier, as a distributor in a sense, with the resources that we receive from the supplier, we can kind of improve their knowledge, their horizon, broaden it. So if we can play a part in that one, helping them out, going into competition, providing our facilities as a way of for them to do trainings. For them, we provide them with the ingredients when they do
Yeah.
the training, and then if they go somewhere and win a medal somewhere,
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't win it, but we get proud because it's okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
helped that guy, you know.
So do you have like a proud moment story that where you've helped someone achieve?
I guess when Indonesia won the World Chef competition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Bali team at one point in few years back, so we helped them training in our kitchen.
Yeah.
And then we got assisted by the chefs from the hotels. I think one of them is Andrew Skinner. He used to be the chef at the Bulgari. Andrew is a very good mentor for the young
Okay.
ones. You know, not an easy one. Very strict, very disciplined. But I think the people will learn a lot from
Yeah.
him. So our team from Bali went all the way to win Indonesia, win Southeast Asia,
Wow.
all the way to Santiago, Chile, and win the world competition, cooking
Wow.
competition. And we're quite proud because we're basically what did we help them with? We helped them with the ticket, accommodation, whatever, right? Our resources are limited in comparison to France team or Hong Kong or Norway, whatever.
Mhm.
But our boys win.
Wow.
So I'd like to have a little bit more of those moments, you know, in the future.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, no, that means, yeah. You know, sometimes when people talk about, you know, we want to pass on that knowledge, but you're actually living proof that you do it, right? And people can see that. And I think as a business, it's also good for your customers to see, like, well, they were a part of helping or giving opportunities and a chance to people, right? And I think people at the end of the day do business with people that they like, right? And
Mhm.
so,
That's natural,
right?
yes.
So, but then when they see you do these things, then like, hey, they're true to their word. And so,
Mhm.
well done. Great story. So what's next for Lotus Foodservice? You know, what are you planning to expand or offer new services? Anything on the horizon you can share with us?
Mm, we'd like to be able to work together with our supply partner and create some sort of a training program, right? And then we have enough resources and network where the people in the industry who have good knowledge they can share.
Yeah.
Now, I do realize most of them are busy, so we need to find the times to do it with them. But my expectation is that if these future leaders in the industry, which is now working for someone, I hope that their employer are flexible enough to give them time to learn. Mm. And if we can make it as economical as possible, yes, we'll do so.
Okay.
No, and to date, I think we've done most of our training free of charge. We don't actually charge.
Okay.
So if there is in the future we have to charge, yes, it'll be very minimal. I hope, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Conrad? How do you see the business evolving?
I mean, growing up within, I've seen how it's evolved. You know, we started doing food and beverage, taking on equipment, and also now a shift towards local ingredients versus imported products.
Yeah.
You know, as a result of government regulation and policy, but also local industries are being uplifted because there's been this transfer of knowledge. A lot of people from outside coming here, or people from Indonesia going overseas and coming back and bringing that knowledge and creating products. So I would like to see more local products, more
Yep.
cooperation with us and other producers to, maybe develop our own brands and things like that in any category.
Got
Yeah.
it. I like that. I like that point also about having having these. Yeah, I just had an idea of like producers. Yeah, you were saying time, right? Because everyone's always focused on the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
But the time itself is worth something too. And I could imagine like I with chocolate, Having younger chefs doing rotational times, like study at the chocolate school for a month, and then going to, let's say, a bread, a bakery business, right? And then rotating that. That way, the time is shared between various producers, and then the value for the students is that they get to see a lot in a short amount of time. So that's I don't know. I just thought of that. Like maybe
Yeah,
that
good.
could
I
work,
mean, it's
right?
good. It's good actually for the users to see how the product actually came to that little package that they actually buy.
Yeah,
To have the appreciation on all the efforts and of all the people that's involved in it, all the way from farmers to the final packer,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
By doing so, I believe that they can appreciate it more, then they can find ways on how to utilize it. Now, local industry is getting there. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but the I suppose the awareness is there for them to improve, and I think it's a balancing between the bottom line and then do we want to sell 1 million at so-so quality, or you want to sell 10,000 but at very good quality,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, well, to a lot of it is is a combination between ideality and bottom line, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. No, it makes sense. I think what's also good about that is that if they see where it comes from or how it's made, they get more of a respect for the ingredients that they use, right? Amazing. Well, those were actually all of my questions,
Okay,
and so now
that's good.
we're on to the rapid fire questions. So the rapid fire set of questions are basically just 4 questions, and you just need to give 1 or 2 quick word answers to go down. Okay, you ready? All right, first one. Oh, actually, we already asked this one.
Did we go through them already?
We did.
Yeah, actually, the first one was, what's your favorite way to enjoy chocolate? Personally, well, drink, right?
Mm,
Both of your drinks, right? Okay. Dark milk or white chocolate?
dark.
Which one?
Dark.
Dark, really, both of you. Any percentage or
The
Um,
si-
85 plus.
85 plus, Conrad?
about that 70 to 80 range.
Nice. One thing you wish every pastry chef customer understood about chocolate.
There's a different quality in chocolate, and
Okay.
do not think that everything has to have the same value in
Mm.
terms of if it's a compound, it's compound. It's couverture, couverture. Do not expect couverture to have a compound price.
How about you, Conrad?
What she said, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Last one. If you weren't working in food distribution, what would you do?
When I don't have all these activities on day to day, I would like to be able to work with the local farmers or grower or whatever, and then package their product in such a way so it can enter to the international level.
Yeah.
Ah,
Not not considered as, because sometimes unfortunately we are all guilty of it, I suppose. The thought that, oh, local product is not good.
mm,
Yeah. And then you turn around and you see someone come up with a good idea and it's a local product, but it's an expat who's doing it. Sorry for this. And then he said, see, if they can do it, why didn't we think of it?
right.
Yeah. So kayaknya when you allow that situation to linger, then you're always going to play catch up and you'll never become the host in your own home.
Yeah. Makes sense. But there's still time, to do that.
Oh, plenty. Plenty.
How about you, Conrad?
I was just going to say exactly that, being on a farm and helping local producers, achieve something greater than what they're currently doing, whether it's just, because we've talked about this before, how the current supply chain works and
Yeah.
how a lot of the farmers get taken advantage of, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of structural, I guess, issues within that industry, and like how do we elevate status or repackage your product, do more value adding within the country, because Indonesia is rich with the resource, with the natural ingredients and products. A lot of it gets exported, repackaged, brought back to our country,
Yeah.
which does not
20
make
times
sense.
the price.
Yeah, at a different price.
So I think it would be that, whether it's on the distribution side, or it could be something that complements what we're doing right
Yeah.
now and getting into production and also value adding on what we have over here. And looking inward, not just trying to
Yeah.
see what we can bring into our country, so that's
Nice.
that.
I hope you do it. I hope you
Yeah.
do it. I like it.
It is possible. It does take perseverance, and
Yeah.
then it takes a little bit stronger will, I suppose,
Yeah.
than day-to-day activities. But it's yeah, I do feel kasihan ya.
Yeah.
To see our farmers, product is good, but because they didn't package it right, they didn't convey the message correctly, and in the world of this super digital, I think actually conveying the message and educating the market is much easier because then you have a lot of resources to do so, right?
And I think that falls in line with your values, which you mentioned earlier about passing on knowledge. It doesn't have to be only to chefs, right? It can also be to farmers.
Yeah.
So perhaps you can create a program and try it out, see how it works, right? I'm sure people would support that.
Yeah. We just hope our government's willing to support that too. Our beloved country.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
enough of that one. Right?
We don't have to get into that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Henny. Thank you, Conrad, for being here on
Our
I Work
pleasure.
with Chocolate.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap for today's episode of I Work with Chocolate. I hope you got a sneak peek behind the curtain, walked away with some real insights, and apply it in your own business or your own creative work. A big thanks to our guests once again for sharing their time, their stories, and their own chocolate and business wisdom. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the show and share it with your fellow chefs, bakers, and friends, and people who live and breathe chocolate like we do. So until next time, keep creating, keep experimenting, and keep working with chocolate.